This is the world news on your premium talk radio. Today, 95.1 FM Port Harcourt. I am Amaka Felix. Good evening. Let's begin with the headlines. NMA condemns additional's remarks on Nigerian healthcare. Vice President Shatima describes Buhari's demise as major loss to Nigeria and Africa. On the foreign scene, UK Prime Minister suspends 4 rebel lawmakers for breaching party discipline. Details in a moment. The Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, has criticized former presidential spokesperson Femi Adesina, describing his recent comments on Nigerian healthcare as an insult to Nigerians. Adesina, during a television interview, stated that the late former president Muhammadu Buhari might have died earlier if he had relied on Nigerian hospitals. He further claimed that Nigerian healthcare facilities lacked the equipment and expertise needed to manage Buhari's condition, hence the decision to seek treatment in a private London clinic. Reacting to the statement, chairman of the NMA, River State Chapter, Dr. Diamond Tamunokoro, in an interview with Today FM's Ifunanya Obeme Ndukwe, said Adesina's remarks were deeply disrespectful to the millions of Nigerians who depend on the same health system for everything, from basic care to specialized treatment. Dr. Tamunokoro described the comments as reflective of the failure of the administration Adesina served, particularly in the area of healthcare development.
It's an insult on well-meaning Nigerians to hear such statements from politicians and political appointees. I mean, there are Nigerians in this country that receive healthcare from the same healthcare system. Mr. Femi Adesina just completely abused and ridiculed, and they receive all kinds of treatment, from basic medical treatment to specialist treatment, and they have lived even longer than the late president lived. So for him to make such a statement means that he has clearly said that himself and the administration is under the complete failure, particularly in terms of healthcare. And Nigerians should actually rise up and begin to ask politicians whether they mean well for the country or they are there to just fit fat and to just extend their pocket.
Dr. Tamunokoro emphasized that rather than constantly seeking treatment abroad, Nigerian leaders should channel public resources into strengthening the country's healthcare infrastructure.
Doctors in Rivers and doctors in Nigeria are sacrificing every day to improve on the health of Nigerians. And healthcare is expanding, and the scope of care is increasing by the day. People are receiving quality healthcare and then living quality life. What we need to get from government is to create the needed environment for healthcare to become where it is today. Rather than running abroad to receive care, politicians should invest money in healthcare and see how the quality of care received by Nigerians is better than what it is today. And that's what we expect to hear from them. And we expect that going forward, Nigerians should ask politicians clearly what their intents are when it comes to healthcare and the quality of healthcare that Nigerian citizens should get.
The director of the Institute for Distance Learning Program at Ignatius Ajuro University of Education, Professor Contain Trinya, says there are far more candidates seeking admission into Nigerian universities than the number of available spaces. Professor Trinya made the statement while reacting to the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board JAM cutoff marks for both universities and other tertiary institutions across the country. Speaking to Today FM's Magnus Wawa, Professor Trinya explained that the real issue is not whether the cutoff marks are increased or reduced, but rather the limited number of admission spaces approved for each university by the National Universities Commission (NUC). On the 16-year minimum age policy, Professor Trinya noted that a university environment requires mature minds who can cope with both academic challenges and social life on campus.
And some admissions have been done without necessarily doing that. But the ministry has a reason for that, because the child has to have some kind of maturity, personal maturity, apart from the intellectual competence, to be able to interact with the academic environment and interact with people from different backgrounds. In other societies, the age factor is different. And there's a 9-year professor in, I think, Oxford, who 9 years somewhere, but teenager. We've had teenagers and on that team who have excelled in particular areas, and they are acclaimed as professors, and they teach disciplines in universities.
JAM had last week set the cutoff mark for universities at 150, colleges of nursing sciences at 140, and polytechnics, colleges of education, and colleges of agriculture at 100. Operatives of the River State Police Command have arrested one of the notorious cultists linked to the recent gruesome killings in the Diobo axis of Port Harcourt in the Port Harcourt City local government area. The suspect, 36-year-old Diseye Okulu, a native of Bayelsa State residing at Newi Street, Diobo, Port Harcourt, was apprehended by a combined team of police operatives in collaboration with members of the Diobo local vigilante group. In a statement, the command's public relations officer, Superintendent of Police, Grace Ringe Koko, described the arrest as a major breakthrough, in line with the directive of the Commissioner of Police, Olatunji Olugbenga Adepoju, to rid the state of criminal networks. According to SP Eringe Koko, the operation was intelligence-driven and focused on the ongoing inter-confraternity clashes between the D12 and BS cult groups, both affiliated with the notorious Digbam cult, which has been linked to the recent killings in Diobo. Following Okulu's confession, operatives raided the residence of Achiono Chukuma, popularly known as Solex, and recovered one Scorpion VZ61 submachine gun, one locally fabricated English-made Beretta pistol, 20 rounds of 5.56 mm live ammunition, 2 rounds of 9 mm live ammunition, and a pair of sunglasses containing a concealed screwdriver. The statement added that the suspect and recovered exhibits are in police custody, while discreet investigations are ongoing to apprehend other members of the cult group. The Commissioner of Police reaffirmed the command's unwavering commitment to bringing all perpetrators of crime in this state to justice and urged the residents to provide timely and useful information to assist police operations. In another development, members of the Olakwo Eche Special Squad, a local vigilante group in the Eche local government area of River State, have apprehended a young boy allegedly hired to kill 4 internet fraudsters, commonly known as Yahoo Boys, who reportedly used human parts for rituals. Reports indicate that the suspect ran out of luck while attempting to strangle his victim, identified as Vicky Weke, to death. The suspect, Ihani Asobirionwu, reportedly abducted the woman and began choking her until she collapsed. Believing she was dead, he left the scene to retrieve a machete to slit her throat. However, while he was away, the victim regained consciousness and managed to escape. Today FM gathered that the suspect has been handed over to the police. Meanwhile, the Category Committee Chairman of Amakumba Community in a local government area of River State, Kingsley Anyanwu, has called on security agencies and the state government to conduct a thorough investigation into the case involving Ihani Asonirionwu, who was apprehended after a failed attempt to strangle a woman identified as Vicky Weke. Asonirionwu allegedly confessed that he was sent by suspected internet fraudsters, commonly known as Yahoo Boys, to bring human parts for ritual purposes. Speaking in an interview, Anyanwu expressed concern over rising insecurity in the area, noting that the men and women now fear going to their farms due to the activities of suspected ritualists and criminal elements in the community. The CDC chairman stressed the need for a comprehensive investigation to uncover those behind this particular incident and ensure that peace and safety are restored to their communities. Anyanwu also confirmed that the suspect is currently in police custody at the Okehi police station.
We are urging the security agency to make sure there will be proper interrogation and investigation for him to be able to mention those who are behind, because he was sent so that he will mention those who are involved. Because as we speak, the environment is no longer safe. Our old women and men will go to farm and they won't stay comfortably, because some of these boys have been turning around the whole place to see whom they will harm. So we are calling on the security agency to do proper investigation and interrogation. Let him confess.
You're listening to the world news on Today95.1 FM, Voice of the People. After the break, more news, foreign and sports stories. Stay with us.
Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned. The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, says former President Muhammadu Buhari's death is a major loss to the nation and the entire African continent. Shettima stated this after a brief prayer for the repose of the soul of Buhari at the deceased's residence in Daura, Katsina State. According to him, people from far and wide have called to commiserate with President Tinubu over the sad demise of Buhari. He stated that every soul shall test the torment of death, adding that while death is an inevitable destiny that hangs over everyone's neck, everyone should consider themselves as travelers with their bags and baggage waiting for the train. Shettima prayed to Allah to grant the soul of the late former President Buhari eternal rest and reward him with Al-Jannah Firdaus and protect the family he left behind. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has resigned his membership of the People's Democratic Party with immediate effect. In a letter dated July 14, 2025, and addressed to the chairman, PDP, Jeddah One Ward, Jeddah Local Government Area, Adamawa State, Atiku said his resignation is due to irreconcilable differences that have emerged in the former ruling party. He noted that he found it necessary to part ways due to the current trajectory the party has taken, which, according to him, diverges from the foundational principles it stood for. Atiku was elected as the vice president on the platform of the PDP, serving under President Olusegun Obasanjo from 1999 to 2007. He has also been the PDP's presidential candidate on 2 occasions, flying the party's flag in the 2019 and 2023 presidential elections. Atiku, however, did not succeed in the 2 outings for the party, losing to Muhammadu Buhari in 2019 and the incumbent President Bola Tinubu in 2023. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo says Nigeria needs right operators of the Constitution, not a perfect Constitution, to lead in good governance and promotion of welfare and well-being of the citizenry. Obasanjo stated this in his remarks at the opening of a 3-day national summit on the future of Nigeria's constitutional democracy, organized by the Patriots in collaboration with the Nigeria Political Summit Group in Abuja. In his remarks, read by the Secretary General, eminent patriot Olawale Okuniyi, Obasanjo said that while a nation's constitution must reflect its history, its constituents, and the aspiration of its people, no constitution is perfect. He noted that the operators of the Constitution played a key role in the implementation and promotion of the well-being of the citizens. The federal government has forecast potential flooding in 38 locations across 11 states. It warned that heavy rainfall from Wednesday, July 16 to Sunday, July 20, 2025 could trigger flooding in the 11 states. The alert was issued by the Federal Ministry of Environment through the National Flood Early Warning Center under the Erosion, Flood and Coastal Zone Management Department and signed by the Director of the Department, Usman Bokani. States expected to be affected according to the prediction include Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Borno, Bauchi, Plateau, Yobe, Katsina, Kano, Jigawa, Cross River and Zamfara states. Earlier, the federal government initiated the establishment of the National Flood Insurance Policy as a proactive measure to address Nigeria's growing vulnerability to flood disasters. On the foreign scene now, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has suspended 4 lawmakers from Labour over repeated breaches of party discipline. Neil Duncan Jordan, Brian Leishman, Chris Hinchcliffe and Rachel Maskell have had the party whip removed, meaning the lawmakers will sit as independents in the House of Commons. 3 of the Labour lawmakers, Rosanna Khan, Bell Ribeiro Adi and Mohammed Yassin, have been stripped of their trade envoy roles. It comes after all 4 of the suspended lawmakers and the former trade envoys voted against the government's welfare reform bill earlier this month. In all, 47 Labour lawmakers rebelled against the government's proposed cuts to welfare and forced ministers to water down their plans. The rebellion undermined Starmer's authority, which was weakened after a series of policy reversals, such as restoring the winter fuel allowance to millions of pensioners. To end the news, here is a summary of the major stories. The Nigerian Medical Association has condemned former presidential spokesperson Femi Adesina's comments on the Nigerian healthcare. You heard that Vice President Kashim Shettima has described former President Muhammadu Buhari's demise as a major loss to Nigeria and the African continent. On the foreign scene, we told you that UK Prime Minister has suspended 4 rebel lawmakers for breaching party discipline. Ifunanya Obeme Ndukwe edited the news. For comments and inquiries, please call 0818-389-3850. Send your emails to news@todayfmlive.com. Read our stories on www.todayfmlive.com. I am Amaka Felix. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
Today's news, today's entertainment, today's sports, today's issues. Today on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Want to know what's happening? Get latest information in sports, politics, lifestyle, you name it. The frequency of choice. Today 95.1 FM. Today 95.1 FM. We serve you the latest update on everything. Today 95.1 FM. We are the voice of the people. The voice of the people.
Live your truth. Express your love. Share your enthusiasm. Take actions towards your dreams. Talk your talk. And walk your walk.
It was years ago. There's a statute of limitation on this stuff.
Make today worth remembering as we discuss issues as it affects Nigeria moving forward. Talk that talk.
Weekdays, 2 p.m.
Exclusively on Today 95.1 FM Port Harcourt. Voice of the people.
Red is passion. Pink is for unconditional love. Blue is for loyalty. While black is secretive and mysterious.
Baby, tonight's the night.
Let's talk about love. The passion, the bliss, the betrayal, and everything in between. On Lovey Dovey, Mondays to Thursdays from 11 p.m. beneath the night sky with the Amaka Felix on Today 95.1 FM.
Education never ends, and we believe it starts even way earlier than most of us think. On Andre Gorgie, every Tuesday, 1 to 2 p.m., we unravel these various building blocks and its challenges that make you and I better versions of ourselves. Andre Gorgie on Today 95.1 FM.
It's been an exciting week. It's been an awesome week. And just in case you missed out on our big stories this week, we got you covered. Rewind comes up every Saturday, 6:30 a.m. And here you get your total rundown of all the big stories and trends for the week in River State. And this is brought to you by your premium talk radio, Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Rewind, 6:30 a.m. every Saturday. Don't miss it.
It all begins with breaking news.
Now make no mistake, this is a difficult mission, and it will remain difficult for some time.
Then it keeps trending. Events, issues, personalities, all struggling to gain attention. But in the race with deadlines, the intrigues, power play, undercurrents are often missed or underreported.
Insecurity here is basically a product of poverty.
But not anymore.
As the platform on radio steps in to fill the missing links on events, issues, and personalities in the news.
I'm not afraid of anybody.
Yeah! The platform on radio serves only the hottest topics and trending issues. Only on Today 95.1 FM.
95.1 FM.
Port Harcourt. Weekdays, 4 p.m. Get on the platform on radio and be served.
Wake up to today's quest, where breakfast on the radio is full course. We start with some motivation to ignite the spark in you for a great day. Then a full interactive sports show on Sport Attack 6:30 a.m. Unbeatable and concise news reports on the world news at 7 a.m. And our newspaper review segment now 7:30 a.m. Oh yes, 7:30 a.m. The scoops and the commentaries of my esteemed panelists. Today's quest, 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Miss it, you miss out.
A person who knows how to read and does not read is no different from a person who does not know how to read at all.
Books are the mirrors of the soul, a powerful tool for change, a means to an end. That end is a peaceful society which grooms enlightened and empowered individuals. So, make literature your utopia.
This same issue that we see in this book is still prevalent in our society today. Like up to today, some parents, some people
will still say you can't marry from this tribe, you shouldn't marry from this tribe.
God forbid, I can't marry.
Yeah. Join us in book review every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Let's help you find your utopia.
Five, four, three, two, one.
Let's take you into a realm, another dimension, a reality of higher intelligence, discovery, and quantum possibilities. Tune in every Monday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. on this station and be part of this journey as we address issues that relate to you and your tech life. It is Today's Tech Show on your premium talk, news, and sports station. Today, 95.1 FM.
Get ready to feel the rhythm, the groove, and the true vibes of Africa. This is not just music. This is high life. From the legends to the latest, we're bringing you the best of palm wine grooves, jazzy horns, and soul-stirring melodies. There was a sound that told our stories, a rhythm that made our fathers dance and our mothers smile. Welcome to The Thrill, a musical journey through time where legends live on and new stars shine. Join us from Mondays to Thursdays, 9 p.m. on Today 95.1 FM for the ultimate high life musical show. Don't just listen, feel the music. High life lives here.
Africa's life. Africa's life. Africa's life.
Have you ever been in a situation where you had to pay a fine for an indictment? Then you later found out that there was an already established law to protect you from that penalty. Have you ever been denied a position because of your gender or disability? Have you ever been discriminated, treated unfairly, assaulted or cheated by your landlord, employer, tax collectors, bank, family, business partners, and the police? What if the breach between you and justice is just the right knowledge? I'm sure you've heard that knowledge is power. Join us every Saturday, 10 to 10:30 a.m. on Today 95.1 FM for the program The Law Today, to get acquainted with your legal rights and beneficial interests as a citizen of Nigeria. The Law Today, 10 to 10:30 a.m. every Saturday, is brought to you by Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Nothing like the good old classic music and reminding the new school of where it all started from. Get the best of classic old school music back to back.
Nostalgia Drive.
From 10:30 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Every Saturday.
On Today 95.1 FM. Hear the bomb.
95.1 FM.
What's a successful business without sales? And what is sales without an audience? Well, do you know that you can reach 8 million listeners across 6 states in 2 geopolitical zones all at once? How? With Today 95.1 FM, you can get millions of people to know about your business. And what does that mean to you? More sales. Call 081 389 2850 now for more information.
Every day, we hear reports about counterfeit products, stories of fake drugs, foods, expired goods and other consumables being manufactured, imported and sold to unsuspecting members of the public. Findings reveal that Africa records at least 100,000 deaths from fake drugs-related ailments yearly. These fake and substandard products, particularly drugs, have been considered a global threat to human lives. And despite efforts by authorized agencies in Nigeria to combat the menace, the Nigerian market remains flooded with different unwholesome products. This is a plea to all those who manufacture and sell these goods to desist. Stop this menace of counterfeit products. Let's place value on human lives. And should you have purchased a counterfeit product or unsatisfied with the product, please contact SON or Consumer Protection Agency. This message is powered by Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
Bunkering is a legal act of smuggling crude oil from pipelines and storage facilities, which poses significant dangers to Nigerian society. This activity has different consequences that affect various aspects of the nation's well-being, and it has consequences such as untimely death, environmental devastation. It fuels insecurity. It also damages our infrastructure, and it also damages our international prestige. You might say, how do we make a living if we stop this illegal activity? Well, as a young individual, you can channel your energy into positive endeavors that can help you generate income and create an adequate future for yourself. These are some ideas to help you generate income. You can go into starting a business. You can also acquire digital skills or gain agricultural knowledge or engage in farming. You can also acquire art and creativity. You talk about technology and innovation. Then, skills and vocational training. Please note that success often requires dedication, consistency, and continuous learning. This message is brought to you by your premium talk radio, Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Live from the Golf
modern city of Port Harcourt, Nigeria. This is Today 95.1 FM. Nigeria. This is Today 95.1.
This is Today 95.1 FM Port Harcourt, Voice of the People. It is time again for a rundown of the foreign news that made the headlines on the world today. I am Amaka Felix. Good evening. France, UK, and Germany announced plans to reimpose sanctions on Iran. Thousands of Afghans secretly relocates to UK after data leak. US urge Israel to probe terrorist killing of American citizen by settlers. US Secretary of Defense withdraws 2,000 National Guard troops from Los Angeles. ICC prosecutor receives warning letter to drop Netanyahu case. Details in a bit. Doctors Without Borders say 3 of its staff were intentionally killed in 2021 during the fierce fighting in Ethiopia's Tigray region. The organization, known by its French initials MSF, published the findings of its internal review into the killings of Maria Hernandez, a Spanish national, and Ethiopians Johannes Haliform Reda and Tedros Gebremariam Gebremichael. The northern region of Tigray erupted in a brutal civil war against the federal government from 2020 and 2022 that killed some 600,000 people. The conflict prompted a humanitarian disaster, leaving 1 million displaced, and the fragile peace deal has caused simmering resentment. MSF further accused the Ethiopian government of failing to fulfill its moral obligations to conclude investigations. Away from Africa to the rest of the world, Western diplomats and officials have disclosed plans by France, United Kingdom and Germany to reinstate harsh sanctions on Iran by the end of August if no progress is made on a nuclear deal. French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot told newsmen that the economic penalties on Iran that were lifted under a 2015 agreement in return for allowing restrictions and monitoring of its nuclear program would return by the end of next month at the latest if there was no breakthrough. The deadline was announced as pressure mounted on diplomats to find a new solution to Iran's nuclear ambitions, which Tehran has reiterated are civilian in nature, in the wake of massive Israeli and United States strikes on the country last month. Meanwhile, Barrot told reporters before a meeting with European Union foreign ministers that France and its partners are justified in reapplying global embargoes on arms, banks, and nuclear equipment that were lifted 10 years ago. He added that a firm, tangible, and verifiable commitment from Iran will be made by the end of August. The British government has revealed that thousands of Afghans, including many who worked with British forces, were secretly resettled in the United Kingdom after a leak of personal information raised fears that the Taliban could target them. The United Kingdom said it was closing the resettlement program, which a rare court order had barred the media from disclosing. The Defense Secretary, John Healey, also rendered an apology to all those whose information were compromised. He said he regretted the secrecy and had felt deeply concerned about the lack of transparency to Parliament and the public. Healey also told lawmakers that a spreadsheet containing the personal information of nearly 19,000 who had applied to come to Britain after the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan was accidentally released in 2022 because of a defense official's email error. The United States Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has ordered the withdrawal of 2,000 National Guard troops from Los Angeles, roughly half the federal troops deployed to the city. Recall that President Donald Trump had ordered some 4,000 National Guard and 700 Marines into Los Angeles in early June to help enforce federal immigration raids amid widespread protests. However, the Department of Homeland Security said the raids have led to the arrest of 2,792 undocumented immigrants. Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell confirmed the release of 2,000 California National Guardsmen from the Federal Protection Mission. He claimed the move was because the lawlessness in Los Angeles is subsiding. The administration of United States President Donald Trump has called on Israel to probe the killing of 20-year-old American citizen Sayfullah Mosaled, who was beaten to death by settlers in the occupied West Bank. The U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, asked Israel to aggressively investigate the killing of the Florida-born Mosaled, who was visiting family when he was attacked in Palestinian town of Sinjil. Huckabee's strongly worded post marks a critical stance towards Israel by the U.S. envoy, a staunch Israel supporter who has previously said that there's really no such thing as a Palestinian. But the U.S. ambassador's statement stops short of backing the Mosaled family's demand for Washington to launch its own probe into the killing. The chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, ICC, Karim Khan, has been warned that if arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant are not withdrawn, he and the ICC would be destroyed. The warning was delivered in May to Khan by Nicholas Kaufman, a British-Israeli defense lawyer at the court linked to Netanyahu advisor, who said the Israeli leader's legal advisor authorized him to make Khan a proposal that would allow him to climb down the tree. According to a note of the meeting on file at the ICC, Kaufman told him to ask the court to reclassify the warrants and underlying information as confidential. This was suggested to allow Israel have access to the details of the allegations at the time and challenge them in private without the outcome being made public. Kaufman also warned Khan that if it emerged, he'll be applying for more arrest warrants for far-right ministers Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich over their promotion of illegal Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank. One in every 10 children screened in clinics in Gaza run by the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, is malnourished as child hunger surges across the territory amid the continuing Israeli blockade on humanitarian aid. UNRWA Chief Felipe Lazzarani said Israel's punishing prevention of aid entering Gaza has led to severe shortages of nutrition supplies, describing the situation for starving children as engineered and man-made. Lazzarini said the UN must be allowed to do its work in Gaza, particularly bringing in humanitarian assistance at scale, including for children. He said that any additional delay to a ceasefire will cause more deaths, noting that more than 870 starving Palestinians had been killed so far while trying to access food from the highly criticized distribution system run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is backed by Israel and the United States. UNRWA's Communications Director, Juliette Thoma, told newsmen in Geneva that medicine, nutrition supplies, hygiene material, fuel are all rapidly running out. The fighting between Druze armed groups and government troops has continued in the southern Syrian city of Sawadia, with a ceasefire in tatters as Israel launched further attacks on Syrian forces and warned it would escalate unless they withdrew. Syria's Minister of Defense told newsmen earlier today that the sectarian violence in the predominantly Druze city resumed in force despite the announcement of a ceasefire by the Syrian government the previous night. The ministry officials blamed groups outside the law for breaking the ceasefire and attacking government troops, who they said were responding to fire while taking into account rules of engagement to protect civilians. Speaking from Damascus, Osama bin Javaid said following yesterday's ceasefire announcement, the situation had spiraled out of control once again, with 70 people killed. Cuban Labor and Social Security Minister Marta Elena Feito Cabrera has resigned after saying there are no beggars in Cuba. The news came a day after Feito made the comments about poverty in the island nation to deputies in the National Assembly Committee. The minister added that people cleaning car windscreens live easy lives and they use the money they make to drink alcohol. Feito also lashed out against those who searched through rubbish dumps, saying they are recovering materials to resell and not pay tax. The remarks quickly went viral, prompting calls for Feito's impeachment and a wave of criticism in a country experiencing a tough economic situation in recent years. Former Thai leader Thaksin Shinawatra has testified in court, seeking to defend himself against royal defamation charges that could land him 15 years in prison. Thaksin was accused of breaching strict lese majeste laws, shielding Thailand's royal family from abuse and criticism in a closed-door trial in the capital Bangkok that began earlier this month and continued today. The prosecution's case revolves around remarks Thaksin made to South Korean media a decade ago, with the defendant due to give at least 3 days of testimony. The recent events for both father and daughter are a serious blow to the powerful Shinawatra political dynasty. His prosecution, combined with Paetongtarn's suspension 2 weeks ago, represents a dramatic waning of their family's political fortune. The Sandnokor volcano has erupted near Iceland's capital, Reykjavik, making it the 12th volcanic eruption in the North Atlantic island nation since 2021. The Icelandic Meteorological Office, in a statement earlier this morning, confirmed the eruption, saying an eruptive fissure in southwestern Iceland is 700 to 1,000 meters long. Based on GPS measurements and the formation signals, it is likely that this was a relatively small eruption. Live images showed flows of lava and smoke being belched into the sky. Reports also says people were evacuated from the Blue Lagoon, a luxury geothermal spa resort, and the nearby fishing town of Grindavik. Barcelona star Lamine Yamal could face an investigation for reportedly hiring people with dwarfism as entertainers during his lavish 18th birthday party last weekend. Spain's Ministry of Social Rights has asked prosecutors to open a probe into the hiring and exposition of the entertainers. Ministry Director Jesus Martin Blanco told the press that such hirings takes them back to the Middle Ages. Disability rights activists have also condemned the alleged hirings and said they will take action legally and socially against those responsible. But Yamal has his defendants, with one of the alleged entertainers telling Spanish radio stations that they were all treated with respect. That story from Barcelona concludes tonight's edition of The World Today, as produced by Oloma Wosu of the News Department. Before we go, here's a summary of the stories that made the headlines. France, United Kingdom and Germany have announced plans to reimpose sanctions on Iran in August. We told you that thousands of Afghans have secretly relocated to UK after data leak. You heard that the United States President has asked Israel to probe terrorist killing of an American citizen by settlers. The United States Secretary of Defense has withdrawn 2,000 National Guard troops from Los Angeles. And finally, you heard that the International Criminal Court prosecutor has received a warning letter to drop Netanyahu's case. Till same time tomorrow, do have a lovely evening. Thank you for listening.
Stay informed, stay ahead. Tune in to Today 95.1 FM for the latest news and exciting sports updates. Your trusted source for everything you need to know. Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
Red is passion. Pink is for unconditional love. Blue is for loyalty, while black is secretive and mysterious.
Baby, tonight, the night
Let's talk about love. The passion, the bliss, the betrayal, and everything in between. On Lovey Dovey, Mondays to Thursdays from 11 p.m. beneath the night sky with D. Amaka Felix on Today 95.1 FM.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
BBC World Service. I'm Richard Gagoy in Nairobi with Focus on Africa. Kenya's witnessed a wave of youth-led protests this past year, but the violence is taking a toll on their mental health. A young activist opens up.
It constantly damages you. There's so many things in me that have changed, including how I see the value of life entirely. It tends to remind you how precious life is, but also how swift it can be taken away.
Why did Algeria recently jail a French sports journalist? Was it because of the story he was investigating?
For decades, the club became a symbol of cultural identity and resistance for the Berber people. So for Glaze to cover the story meant he stepped into quite a politically charged space.
And scientists warn a quarter of Africa's freshwater fish face extinction. That's all on the BBC. Tonight in Focus. First, the news.
BBC News, I'm John Shea. Israel has intensified its airstrikes on Syria, including on the presidential palace and the defense ministry in the capital, Damascus. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said they were protecting the minority Druze community and aiming to eliminate pro-government forces which are accused of attacking them in Syria's southwestern Suwaida region.
My brothers, the Druze citizens of Israel, the situation in Suwaida, the situation in southwestern Syria is very serious. We are acting to save our Druze brothers and to eliminate the regime's gangs. And now I have one request from you. You are citizens of Israel. Do not cross the border. You are endangering your lives, you could be killed, you could be kidnapped, and you are harming the IDF's efforts.
The US Special Envoy to Syria has called on all parties to step back from violence. Israeli troops have fired tear gas in an attempt to control crowds of mainly Druze people who are attempting to cross the heavily fortified border between Syria and Israel. The IDF said it had identified dozens of what it called suspects attempting to infiltrate Israeli territory. It said several Israeli Druze had also crossed the border into Syria and troops had been deployed to return them. At least 20 people have been killed in a chaotic surge while they're waiting for food at a distribution point in southern Gaza. Many were trampled to death. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation blamed agitators affiliated with Hamas. But Gazan officials say tear gas was fired at starving people. Here's Yolande Nell.
Graphic video verified by the BBC shows the bodies of boys and men arriving on a cart at Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis. A witness said people waiting for food handouts were crushed between fences set up at the site. The GHF said 19 people were killed and 1 stabbed in a chaotic and dangerous surge. It said it believed that elements armed and affiliated with Hamas fomented unrest. Since the foundation began its controversial food operations in Gaza in late May, the UN says it's recorded more than 670 people killed near its sites. Most have reportedly been shot by Israeli forces.
The Israeli military has established a new corridor cutting southern Gaza's Khan Yunis in two. Israel says the 15-kilometre-long Magen Oz corridor will increase pressure on Hamas and restrict the movement of its fighters. Critics say the corridors and an announced plan to move all Palestinians to a newly created zone in the south show that Israel wants to displace the people of Gaza permanently. The jailed Turkish opposition leader Ekrem İmamoğlu has been given a 20-month prison sentence for insulting a prosecutor. Mr İmamoğlu, who's been in custody on separate corruption charges, has maintained that all accusations against him are politically motivated. World News from the BBC. The Thai king has revoked appointments and awards for 81 Buddhist monks as part of a widening sex scandal that's gripped the country. A woman has been arrested and accused of having sex with a number of monks, recording the encounters to extort money from them. When they raided her home, Thai police found 80,000 photos and videos. South Korean police have arrested a teacher and the mother of a pupil on suspicion of breaking into a school and stealing exam papers. They are alleged to have entered the school in the city of Andong in the early hours of the morning. Officers think they'd done it before. There's been another volcanic eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula in southwest Iceland. Video footage showed lava spewing out of a fissure in the ground. Some local residents have been evacuated, as has the tourist attraction the Blue Lagoon Geothermal Spa. It's the latest in a series of eruptions since the region became seismically active again in 2021 after 8 centuries of inactivity. International aid funding for health projects is expected to fall to the lowest level in 15 years, raising fears that decades of improvement could be reversed. Here's our global health correspondent, Dominic Hughes.
Cuts in aid budgets by big donor countries, including the United States, the UK, Germany and France, are already having an impact. What's called global assistance for health funding is set to drop to around $38 billion, according to an analysis carried out by the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation at Washington University. That's the lowest level in 15 years, and less than half the $80 billion that was donated at the height of the COVID pandemic. They forecast further declines over the next 5 years and warn that 3 decades of improvements in health could be reversed, with the risk that millions of preventable deaths could follow.
And that's the latest BBC World News.
Hello, I'm Richard Kagoin. Here's what's coming up on this edition of Focus on Africa. How is a year of violent protests in Kenya impacting young people's mental health? We hear from an activist and a psychiatrist. Why did Algeria jail French sports journalist Christopher Glaze? We break down the case and what it could mean.
Glaze was working on a piece about JS Kabylie, which is obviously one of Algeria's most historic and successful football clubs. JSK is based in the Kabylia region in northern Algeria. For decades, the club became a symbol of cultural identity and resistance for the Berber people. So for Glaze to cover the story meant he stepped into quite a politically charged space.
Plus, a warning you might have missed. Some of Africa's freshwater fish could soon vanish for good.
In Zambia, where I'm from, we've noticed a 90% decline in the catch of fish like tilapia and catfish. Our neighbors to the east in Malawi have it even worse. They have an iconic fish that they call the chambo, and there has been a 94% decline in that fish. So it's extremely alarming.
It's Wednesday, July 16th. We begin in Kenya. It's been over a year since Kenyans first took to the streets to protest a controversial finance bill. One, they said, would make life even harder in the middle of an economic crisis. At least 3 people were killed during those protests, including students, shopkeepers, and Sunday school teachers. But so far, no one has been held accountable. Beyond the slogans and the clashes, there's another cost that's harder to see: the mental toll. Many of those who took part, especially young people, are still dealing with emotional scars. From anxiety to PTSD and burnout, the impact is deep, especially for those who faced police violence. In this episode, we hear from a 24-year-old activist, Zaha Indimuli, based in Nairobi. She shares how the protests continue to affect her life and what pushed her to join in the first place.
As a human rights defender myself and a women's rights activist, protests are not just a call to action, it's my daily job. So in June, when it came, at first I was attending as a normal protester, looking at how the economic instability is affecting women in their own way, but equally the entire country, especially with the youth bulge that we have. But then things got a bit complicated, because then it started looking like, first of all, there's a medical tent, not as many doctors to the ratio of the amount of people that are attending. And I was like, yeah, I think I need to offer support there. So I joined the medical tent. That's been my job in most of the protests, to offer help to injured protesters, including police officers, unfortunately, who end up murdering people, but again, presenting that there's no bias, and so treating everyone as they come. So I decided to join the medical tent.
And speaking about injuries, because, you know, the protests started off very peacefully and then they became very violent. And you've talked about protesters who lost their lives. In terms of your mental health and just getting that exposure, at what point did you realize that something was actually off? What were the signs?
I noticed something is off when I started receiving patients that had gunshots. And for me, I was like, first of all, with the type of crowd that I've seen, because we used to do crowd analysis, crowd assessing, you had seen young people just with flags, water, masks, simply actually just coming together and having a very good time, you know. Like, as much as they shared the common economic pain, people were singing, dancing, you know, speaking their truth and seeing commendably how young people can come together. I'll tell you of an experience that I had, unfortunately, and with the PTSD that also I actually accumulated from that. I was around a place called Holy Family Basilica. It's right around Parliament Road. And I was having school children who were trying to shade themselves from the tear gas and the hose pipes, water from those tanks. And we had a couple of patients, and I was just from assisting a police officer. And we were shot at the medical tent inside the church 8 times. And like 4 loads of tear gas were dropped on us. And, you know, for me, it reaches a point where
actual gunshots.
Yes, actual gunshots, like piercing through our tent and all that. So when I had the first one, the second and the third one, so it became a stampede. I can't see the kids. All the injured people are walking, bleeding. The tear gas really does a lot of damage to open wounds. So everyone running around, I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, those are more than 4 gunshots that I've heard. We're probably going to die here. I did a little prayer, which is so sad to have done, but I did a little prayer and I accepted my death. And then I tried to follow the sound of the gunshots, because I was like, you know, maybe they don't know that we have a medical tent there, which is naive, because I knew they know. But then again, they don't recognize the damage that we were having over there. So I walked outside the church and I found a group of police officers. And as I approached them, you know, they're already charging, you know, like, go back. And I'm like, I have doctors there. I have patients there. I have injured persons there, including fellow police officers, that I am not biased. So I'm treating everybody. Why would you shoot that? And straight to my face, the police officer told me, Madam, go back. We are just about to kill more, and you can wait for them there in the tent to treat them.
That must have been terrifying.
The devastation, and how heartbroken I am to tell myself, okay, first of all, I have to have courage to go back and wait, because this guy is not aloof. They're speaking of go back. This is just the beginning. It's just getting hot. You know, you're about to receive actual good numbers. So go back to the medical tent. People died in our hands.
Zaha Indimuli, human rights defender and human rights activist here in Nairobi. While the trauma isn't always caused by protesting itself, health experts say witnessing violence, whether on the ground or through social media, can trigger new mental health conditions or worsen existing ones. Dr. Margaret Isioma Ojehere, a psychiatrist and public health researcher, told me what signs to look out for when someone's mental health is deteriorating.
So there are several symptoms, but it's important that I state that some might not be easily recognized in the early phase because even the individual might not even know. And then again, some might be recognized and the individual might try to suppress them or might be in denial. I may not want to speak about it because of the stigma that is associated with mental health conditions in this part of the world, in fact, globally. The important thing is to identify, to be familiar with the normal, what was the person's previous state, and then you now compare with the changes. And so based on that, you now look out for the symptoms because we don't want to tag everybody that manifests some acute changes and say, oh, this person has a mental health condition. No. But we look out for things like changes in the sleep, changes in the appetite. And then there might be the undue concern, the restlessness, which was not in keeping with the person's previous state. And then there might be mood changes, what people term as mood swings. That might also be a red flag. You want to check what's wrong with you, why have you changed? And for children, because you might also have this in children, there is the increase in tantrums, increased social media engagement for some of them, and or there might be withdrawal or clinging, as it were, and poor performance or drastic change in academic performance. And for people who might come down with PTSD, you might see things like hypervigilance, they're easily startled, they have nightmares, they have flashbacks where they reenact the event and all that. And so there is a gamut of symptoms that can actually occur, but these are the commoner ones, but there are others. This is not comprehensive, I must say.
What would you say to people who feel compelled to attend such protests or high-risk events, especially when there's a chance that they could be traumatic?
Usually, protests and riots and collective actions stems from frustrations and that sense of deprivation and the need to demand for justice. And so while protests may unify people and drive policy and societal changes, it can also lead to unintended consequences, psychological, social, physical consequences, because you cannot determine the cause, you can't determine where it will lead you. So before young adults participate in such events, it's important that they explore other safer and more constructive ways to be visible yet drive these changes. They can be heard and not hurt. I'll encourage them to aim to be seen, but they should be safe.
Psychiatrist Dr. Margaret Isioma Ojehere. If you've been affected by similar events, seek professional help near you or speak to an adult you trust. To listen to the longer version about this story, head to your favorite podcast platform and search for Focus on Africa podcast. A French journalist was recently sentenced to 7 years in prison by an Algerian court for what the authorities call glorifying terrorism after he published an interview with a figure linked to the banned Kabylie independence movement. Christopher Glaze, who had previously reported on JS Kabylie Football Club, was arrested under Algeria's sweeping anti-terrorism laws. These are laws that rights groups say are being used to silence dissent and regional activism. The case has sparked renewed tension between France and Algeria, whose relationship is on tenterhooks from colonial-era grievances to bitter disagreements over migration, disputed regions in the Western Sahara, and France's alleged sympathy towards Kabylie separatist voices. So, was this case of national security or political theater? To unpack the story further and explore the political, cultural, and sports tensions at the heart of this case, I was joined by the BBC's senior sport journalist, Piers Edwards, and BBC monitoring journalist Alex Wright, who specializes in Africa and Middle East. I began by asking Piers, who is Christopher Glaze, and what do we know about him as a journalist?
Well, we know that for just over a decade or so, he's been specialising in African football, primarily for the Paris-based magazine called So Foot, which is also a subscription online-based magazine. He got into African football after travelling to Algeria initially in 2014. He went there to research the death of a Cameroonian footballer called Albert Ebosse, and that was after Ebosse died after reportedly being struck on the head by a projectile while playing for a club called JS Kabylie, the most successful club in Algeria. Algeria. That's what took him to the continent in the first place. Apparently he fell in love with African football after that. He also works for another magazine called Société or Society. He's 36 years of age, and as far as we know, he has little, if anything, to do with politics, so he's largely African football based.
Do we know whether he was legally in the country?
What he really messed up with on this occasion was that he entered Algeria on a tourist visa and not an official working visa or journalistic visa, and so that really did not play into his hands. And therefore, however the authorities found out what he was doing in the country and the stories that he was looking into, it would not have helped him when he would have been initially detained, and they would have obviously asked to see what sort of visa he had. And I don't know, because we don't know the full details of the case given the Algerian authorities' silence on the matter, but obviously if they found him in the midst of an interview or whatever it may have been, or some territory which they deemed that he shouldn't have been on, and obviously they could see that he was on a tourist visa and not an official working one, instantly he would have been in trouble. So that wasn't the smartest move from his part, I've got to say.
All right, let me bring in Alex right now. So Christophe was reportedly working on a story about the football club GSK in Tizi Ouzou. What was that story, and how does it connect to the Kabyle separatist movement?
Blaise was working on a piece about JS Kabylie, which is obviously one of Algeria's most historic and successful football clubs. JSK is based in the Kabylia region in northern Algeria, which is the heartland of the Kabylie Berber ethnic group, also Amazigh they're called. For decades, especially during the 1980s, the club became a symbol of cultural identity and resistance for the Berber people in Algeria. So for Blaise to cover the story meant he stepped into quite a politically charged space.
When we look at a report by Reporters Without Borders, they say that he had contact with MAC, a group that now has been classified as a terrorist organization by the Algerian authorities. What do we know about that interaction, and when did it happen?
Well, according to Reporters Without Borders, his most recent contact was in 2024 as part of his research for the story he was working on, JS Kabylie. The individual in question is a man called Axel Belabassi. He's a footballing figure who's become a sort of spokesperson in the separatist movement. Belabassi himself says that the contact between them was strictly professional, as his role as the head of the Kabylie Football Federation. There's no clear evidence that there was any kind of political activism or political points in their conversations.
Do you think this case is really truly about national security, or is it just about authorities punishing a journalist for simply asking difficult questions, speaking truth to power?
Honestly, it's hard to see this case as anything but political. Christophe Blaise, yes, he had contact with someone linked to the Kabylie separatist group MAC, but reportedly the majority of the contacts happened years before the group was labeled a terrorist organization in 2021 by the Algerian authorities. So what it looks like is a journalist is being persecuted for reporting in a very politically sensitive area.
And we have seen rights groups, including Reporters Without Borders, calling for accountability. I wonder, maybe based on your research and observation, what are press groups, especially those pushing for freedom of expression and French media, are calling for? How have they reacted to this so far?
So they've been unanimous in their condemnation of this long sentence in the strongest terms they can give out. Reporters Without Borders has called this a nonsensical verdict, and they've said that Blaise has been convicted for merely doing his job. Meanwhile, his family, according to media reports, has said they're shocked by this ruling. The French media have described it as a disproportionate and politically motivated ruling, and have said that this is sort of a red line when it comes to press freedom.
And what about the French government? I mean, we've heard them saying that they regret the sentence, but have they taken any meaningful steps perhaps to demand and push for his release?
Yeah, so they've expressed regret over the ruling, but there hasn't been any strong diplomatic pressure so far, and that's quite striking given how much buzz this case has attracted over the past couple of weeks.
Thanks to Piers Edwards and Alex Wright. This is Focus on Africa from the BBC World Service. You might not see them, but Africa's rivers, lakes and wetlands are home to some of the world's most extraordinary and now endangered species. freshwater fish. They feed millions, support local economies, and help keep ecosystems in balance. But now, they're vanishing first. A new report by the Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF, warns that more than 1 in 4 freshwater fish species in Africa are at risk of extinction. It's a crisis with huge implications for biodiversity, food security, and livelihoods. From Lake Malawi to the Zambezi floodplains, fish catches are collapsing, and the world is barely noticing. So, what's behind this silent crisis? And what can be done to stop it? To find out, I spoke with Tuba Mutwale, WWF's communication manager for East and Southern Africa, who will explain the main threats, and Eric Oyare, WWF Africa's freshwater lead, on what's driving the decline and how governments and communities must respond. Let me start off with you, Tuba. Tell me about this report that you just released recently about fresh fish species in Africa at risk of extinction. This must be very shocking findings.
That's true. It is indeed. So it's the most comprehensive spotlight to date on the state of freshwater fishes. And it was really motivated by the simple yet very stark reality that 1 in 4 freshwater fishes in Africa are indeed at the risk of extinction. In Africa alone, to give you context, we have 3,281 fish species. Of these, 26%, that's 1 in 4, were found to be at the risk of extinction.
Let me just pause there because freshwater fish species, you really mean...
Exactly. It is a handful, isn't it? Try saying that 10 times out loud. But really, it's fish that is found in rivers, lakes, and non-saltwater bodies. So everything that excludes the oceans and the seas, so it's rivers, it's lakes, it's small streams. They may be found more prominently in landlocked countries like Zambia, Uganda, and those kinds of places. And so basically that is what motivated us to do this report, is that stark reality. And it really is important that we act now, actually, because we are indeed losing our fish at alarming rates.
Right, and I think that's a good place for us to bring in Eric here, because Eric, let's look into the drivers. So what's really behind the drop in the freshwater fish populations? What are some of the factors contributing to this decline?
What the report has garnered is that we have an overlap of root causes and threats that are facing these fisheries. For instance, we are faced with large hydropower dams and irrigation schemes in many of our, especially iconic rivers like River Tana in Kenya, where I come from, Kafiwe River in Zambia, where Tuba comes from. And these irrigation systems and large dams fragment the rivers. And this, in terms of fisheries and how ecologically important this is, this, impedes on the fish migration. The second thing which we are also finding out is that we are faced with widespread culture of deforestation, especially in forest areas which are not protected. But even in the protected forests like Mount Kenya, Aberdares, and other areas in the region, there's a lot of illegal logging. And these ecosystems, especially the forest lands, are what we consider in the freshwater ecosystem work as headwaters and catchments of some of these wetlands, which are habitats of the fisheries. So that simply means that we are faced with a lot of soil erosion, siltation, and of course this suffocates the fish breeding grounds. Finally is climate change. But even before I go to climate change, we are faced with a lot of what we are calling non-native invasive species. For instance, in Lake Victoria, across Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, we've been faced over last 2-3 decades with water hyacinth. This suffocates the lake environment, depriving fish of oxygen. But also we are also faced with especially other fish-related non-native invasive species, like we all popularly know the Nile perch, the big fish from Lake Victoria. And this, in terms of predation, feeds and cannibalizes other fish species, and therefore leading to reduction in fish stock. Finally is climate change, which is a compounding effect. Climate change, because of global warming, eats up a lot of our water bodies, but it also, because of the shifting rainfall patterns, that in itself affects the water quality, water quantity, and of course concentration of oxygen levels in these key habitats. So these are really a myriad of challenges that are facing and leading to this decline and the statistics that we are talking about in this report.
And Eric, while you're at it, how is this showing up in people's lives, especially in areas that do depend heavily on what we now call inland fisheries?
The inland fisheries crisis is not only ecological. We want the global community to look at this as beyond ecology. It is also human. It is deeply social. A lot of culture associated with fish and fishing. And therefore, just to share a few highlights in terms of what we've garnered, freshwater fish are actually a source of daily protein. And in terms of data that we've gathered, currently Africa is a population estimated in 2025 at around 1.5 billion people. In terms of our report, 100 million of those Africans spread across different ecoregions depend on fisheries proteins, and especially inland fisheries. Fish like tilapia and catfish, which Tubas alluded to, among others, provide micronutrients, including iron, zinc, and omega-3. For those of us who studied biology, we've also associated this with a lot of brain development, especially at early age of infancy. As this fish stock decline, as the report has attributed to, so does food security, household income, and gender equality and equity. And since we've also seen in terms of social and especially household demographic data, women dominate a lot of fish processing and trading in most of these regions of ours, and therefore that impacts a lot in terms of over 53% of our population that depend on fish and fisheries. The collapse of fisheries also triggers widespread ecological consequences.
Tuba Mtwale and Eric Oyare from the Worldwide Fund for Nature. Focus on Africa was produced by Yvette Twakira Maria, Patricia Whiten, Bella Hassan, and Mark Wilberforce in London. Paul Bachbinger was the senior producer, and Gabriel Oregon, the technical producer. Our editors are Andre Lombard and Alice Modhengi. I'm Richard Kagoe. Thanks for listening.
Tune in for a journey beyond the ordinary.
Fasten your seatbelts.
We are not just a station, we are the station. Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
Something with your body and soul, baby, I swear, girl, you give me joy. Ooh, yeah, shimmy, yeah. Keep them on the low, no go shy, yeah. Spend all my money cause they rob at you. Anywhere you go, I go follow them. Yeah, cause I'm the best one. And I feel pull up on your body with my python. Yeah, I'ma take it hard. Oh, make I show you something we gon' make you brainstorm. I'm a ice. got stamina, you can bank on me now, now. You can bank on me now, now, now, now. I'm a ice, got stamina, you can bank on me now, now. You can bank on me now, now. I'm all the way you are, then make me fall in love. You do me something with your body and soul, baby, swagger, you give me joy. Ooh, yeah, yeah. I'm all the way you are, then make me fall in love. You do me something with your body and soul, baby, swagger, you give me joy. Ooh, yeah, yeah. She sweet with the way she whine, love the way that she creep up on me, my girl. She never switch up on me, my girl. Zingaling, she not body, see my body, want to touch her body alone, touch your body alone, touch your body. I'm all the way you are, then make me fall in love. You do me something with your body and soul, baby, swagger, you give me joy. Ooh, yeah, I'm a style nigga, got stamina, you can bank on me now, now. You can bank on me now, now. Ooh, yeah, yeah. But I can't get enough of you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just a little misunderstood. I like the way you do. Oh, no. Man, chikala, she be my lolo. I don't feel like you go, no. Betting you put for your bono. Oh, no. Man, chikala, she be my lolo. I don't feel like you go, no. Betting you put for your bono. Kumbaya, somebody call the po before she tear my pololo. Kumbaya, kumbaya, somebody call the po before she tear my pololo. Whoa. From the moon to the moon, I go show you say I'm back to your cruise. This one I wear down for two. Oh no, this kind of games you they play. I go show you say I'm back to your cruise. This one I wear down for two. Oh no. My chikala, she be my lolo. I know if you let you go, no. Betting you put for your bono. Oh no. My chikala, she be my lolo. I know if you let you go, no. Betting you put for your bono. Kumbaya, somebody call the po before she tear my pololo. Kumbaya, kumbaya, somebody call the po before she tear my pololo. Whoa.
I still they wonder if it's real life. Cause you show me love and what this feels like. Follow all your steps like it's my dream, yeah. And if you follow left, I no go tilt right. Baby, I your fair, I don't get it plan B. Pictures in my head every time I want sleep. See, I get it, could it make you no worry? I could be your G papa kinechi meko. Negwa mi future up, make you see Acha, baby, I love your attitude. Empty my account because your love is all I want. Sick as you like my back in the meko. Baby, grab me future up, baby, I have equal to the task. Children make you ask, come on, let you up, baggy kind of talk. Girl, you deserve body. Cause you are more than enough, more than enough. Oh, girl, you deserve body love. Cause you are more than enough, more than enough. Oh, baby, buy me sorrow. Am I the type of man you want to make a change the color? If not time to fight, I go stand and no be follow. Tell me all you need, all you want, if it's your grab me if it's your my baby too fine, she be ghost inside. Now you they make my water, make it all too wine. Any which way I go make you mine, oh no. Sick I did and keep my back in the Jamaica. Negwa me future up, make you see Acha, baby, I love your attitude. Empty my account because your love is all I want. Sick I did and keep my back in the Jamaica. Baby, grab me future up, baby, I am equal to the task. Children make you ask, so my little what they can get. Girl, you deserve body. Cause you are more than enough, more than enough. Oh, girl, you deserve body love. Cause you are more than enough, more than enough. Oh, girl, you deserve body. Cause you are more than enough, more than enough.
Beautiful people, hello, how are you doing? Ooh, it's a beautiful Wednesday night. How is your night coming? How did your day go? If you set out to make urgent UK, I hope you came back home with plenty of that. I hope you made urgent UK that. Well, the weather has been doing perhaps a lot this period. Last week it rained cats and dogs. I mean, it was a whole lot last week, but here we are again this week. It hasn't rained so much this week, but well, we're looking at other things. It's Wednesday night. It's midweek. What are your plans for the rest of the weekend? Would you be going to the movies? Do you have any events you want to attend? And have you guys been on social media, please? So Nigeria just lost her former president, and on social media, Nigerians are not even nice. Sometimes I wonder, how Nigerians, I don't know how we are made. I wonder how we come up with the things that we come up with, but the things I've been seeing on social media since Sunday, that's the day the passing of the former president was announced, and Nigerians on social media have been bloody. Hey, you have got no chills. You people have been bloody on SM, and I really don't. Well, I don't even want to lie. I cannot say I don't know why. But it's a whole lot going on. It's a whole lot going on. Anyway, beautiful people, I do hope that you have had a good day. I hope that so far you've had a good, week. It's Wednesday, and, I hope you've had a good week so far. I hope you will not be facing any challenges, but if you have, I'm here for you. I'm here to talk, or I'm here that you can talk to me. Not like I might not have a solution, but I can just advise you to pray about it. Yeah. So before you come to me, shall go to God first. Okay? But guys, I don't think there's any solution that I can give to you that God cannot. Granted, there might be, I might possess small wisdom here and there. At the same time, you would have to make the decision by yourself at the end of the day. So there's all of that going on. Well, what's been going on with you? There are a couple of things that have been happening, have been trending, and all of those things. Well, on the table tonight, we're going to be looking at sexual frustration. Yeah, when it feels like people do not have enough sex. That's what we're looking at tonight. Is there something such as, a situation where you do not have enough sex, and then you feel like the sex is not enough? So because you've not had enough sex, you are malfunctioning. Yeah, I don't know, but hold up. When you're calling, you tell me, because we just have to talk about these things. Yeah, for some people it just feels like, if they're not getting enough of one or two things, then there's something wrong with them. They just begin to act up. There's just sometimes this pent up anger. There's they're just loopholes here and there. They get angry easily. They're just easily triggered, or they're just really sad. So is there something that happens to you when you do not have sex frequently, or when you do not have enough sex? Like when Konji is holding you and then Konji is doing you strong things. Do you have certain experiences around that? Are there things that happens to you? Well, we're going to be looking at sexual frustration tonight. Sexual frustration in marriages, where couples are concerned, because I think that if you're allowed to defer, right? And maybe you can tell me when I open the phone lines for you to call in and join the conversation. I think that couples are the ones who even suffer the most from sexual frustration, because married couples, per se, because sometimes they forget to have sex. Some married couples just get to that point in their marriage. I know that marriage is not a walk in the park. Marriage is a whole lot. There's so much to worry about in marriage, especially when kids come. Sometimes even when kids are not coming, and then the couple are in expectation or they are in anticipation. They want children, but then the children are not forthcoming, and so there's pressure, right? Societal pressure, family pressure. There's all the whole, we know how to be womb watchers in this country. So before you know it, sister, hey, we are waiting, we want to come and dance, want to come and eat rice, want to come and do. What is it? What is it really? I think that sometimes we are the problem, right? The society, you and I who make up members of the society, we're the problem, because sometimes you ask people questions that are too personal, questions that come off as intrusive. Now, a couple might be struggling with, childbirth and all that, might be struggling with pregnancy, basically TTC couples, yeah? And then you're going to tell them you want to eat rice. You are going to tell them you want to hear the cry of a baby. Then it's a different thing if they are not trying to have children at all. But then again, you would not even know, except you are a very close family friend or you are a close family member, and they decide to tell you. But you see all these things people do in the guise of, I care about them, so I'm just asking. We want to hear the cry of a baby. When are we coming to eat rice now? When are we coming to buy diapers now? And all of these things. Kai, if you have been doing it, stop it. You legit might be adding to the problem of that couple. For those of you who look at single people, both men and women, and you tell them, time is going, what are you waiting for now? Bring somebody, we want to come and dance, want to come and smash, baby, want to come. What if they've been meeting people that are not sensible? What if they are struggling with their love life? And then you're telling them those things. You're putting pressure on them. It's the reason people settle and marry the weapon fashioned against them. I was telling a friend of mine this evening, some people marry the weapon fashioned against them. Sometimes the red flags were there. They saw the red flags, but they ignore it, because if they don't marry you, people will come for them. You will come for them, and it's a very sad situation, really. But at the end of the day, I think people would need to do better. You would need to do what you can to step up and step above, all that intrusion, all the intrusion, the questions, the constant questions, because they can be constant, right? And all of those things. Do you? If you do not find that person who aligns with your visions, your values, your goals, please, everybody else should get it. Literally get it. You know? So there are couples who maybe because they're trying to have children, sex might become a chore for them. Yeah, where they have sex not because they want to enjoy the act, or not because they want to enjoy the act or the art, but they have sex because they're trying to have babies. They're trying for children, so they will just engage in it because they have to, and so they have sex maybe when the woman is ovulating. So you begin to hear things like, babe, I'm ovulating, or it's that time of the month, so that time of the month, or when it's ovulation time, where are you? Oh yeah, come. So the wife will just say sometimes there are some films that I've seen over the years, where these situations are vividly described, and then the woman is just like, oh, okay, come in. So she just spreads her legs, and then the man is, thrusting and all. He's just thrusting. The idea is for him to just, because it has become a chore, nobody's enjoying anything. The man is just waiting for him to, to pour in, and then they begin their next wait period to know whether or not something has been fertilized. So I saw this particular movie one time. I can't remember the title now, but it has it stars Enado Odige, Odunsi now. Yeah, she's the wife of Tola Odunsi now. And so so there's that. It stars her, and then I think her husband was that should be Femi Jacobs. Yeah. If I can remember correctly, Femi Jacobs, right? And then I think Mercy Johnson, a couple of others, and all of that. So they were trying for a baby. They were trying so hard, So there's this particular time, Femi said, look, he was tired of having sex with her not because he didn't love her anymore, but because it just felt like a chore. She had stopped having sex with him so it had become sex, just sex and not love making, because they were a couple, so it was supposed to be love making because that's what that type of sex should be about. But because they were trying for a baby, they had gotten to that point where emotionally it felt like they were exhausted, and so it began to feel like a chore, because the only thing they wanted to achieve via copulation was a baby, and so this one occasion, she had said, oh, come and have sex. I'm ovulating, so come and put in and stuff. And so, so they were on it. And then Femi I think he gasped out or something. He was just tired. And then he was like, okay, he needs a breather. And she's like, oh, no, that's not enough. The sperm he has... the sperm he has poured in is not enough or something. She needs more sperm. And so Femi was like, look, I'm tired. I don't think anything else is going to come out. You have to wait. I need a breather and all of that. And, she was insisting. And so Femi ran away. Femi ran away from the room. I think he went into the bathroom or something. And then she just kept on screaming, come and give me the sperm. I need your sperm. Yeah, I think that is one thing I remember about the movie, because the movie did serve to portray the struggles that TTC couples can go through. I don't say TTC moms, because it is not only women who want children, or who, because I notice that sometimes on social media when I see certain posts, I would be seeing TTC mothers. Yeah, women who are expecting, women who are praying to God for a child. Is it only women who pray to God for a child, especially when they are married? It should be couples who are expecting, who are praying to God for a child, and not women who are praying to God for a child. Because there's a way people do these things. No, please, I'm not trying to be a feminist or any of those things. So don't even come at me with that feminist thing. I'm not trying to be a feminist. I'm just simply stating that, look, in situations like that, it's about the couple, because it's a couple who wants children and not the woman alone. Because, please, at the end of the day, should be that you people said the child would bear the father's name and will be from where the father is from. If that's the agreement, please, we should even be doing TTC fathers. What we should have is TTC fathers, because look, there's a way people do this thing, and then I'll just, tell you guys how it is, okay? So sex can become a chore, when a couple have expectations and then the expectations have not been met and all of those things, so at that point it begins to reduce. They only have sex when they have to, that is if they are trying to have a child, or because you don't take once and then maybe one person wants it, and then the other person just reluctantly indulges the other person because they have to. Marital vows, marital responsibilities, blah blah blah. But if you allow yourselves to get to that point where sex becomes a chore for you as a married couple, it's going to be a problem, because a lot of problems that married couples have can pretty much be fixed on the bed. I'm not saying that sex is going to be the solution for everything. No, absolutely not. There are times when you will have to talk about it and sort it out. You would need to have a full-blown conversation, right? But then it's just, sex can be the icing on the cake. So sex has to almost always be on the table, especially if the circumstances allow for it to happen. Yeah, for married couples, sex has to almost always be on the table, provided there's the circumstance for it to happen. So you have no business as a married couple staying away from sex because, please, relationship people, I've always said you people should do with caution, do with the future in mind. That what if you do not marry this person? Remain small for the person who will eventually marry this person. Plus, also remain small for yourself in case it ends in premium praise and not premium tears. Yeah, if it ends in premium praise that you get married, you have the one that you would enjoy. But you people told me they finish. That's what somebody said to me the other time. I think somebody responded to me. I think I saw that message in my DM, and the person was like, "Oh, Maka, so you said we should remain small. Maka, they finish show." I'm like, "Oh, okay, no one." Now me don't get the updates. It be like saying I don't get the updates on time. They finish. If people say they finish, no problem. It's okay. We'll go there. Anyway, it's lovey-dovey. We're here. We're talking sexual frustration. It's a whole lot going on. There's some things I need to, I like to share updates. So I have plenty of updates. I've kept for you guys this past 2 days that, we did not get to do this. So the past 2 days, we didn't get to talk on lovey-dovey. I'm sorry about that. It's totally out of my control sometimes. But then I've told you guys that lovey-dovey happens when lovey-dovey happens. The plan is Monday to Thursday. So, from 11:15 p.m. ish, you hear amazing songs and you get to hear my voice. We're talking real-time issues, okay? Sorting out the things that we go through because we are adults and we're living in a real society. We're living in real time. We have these challenges and we have to deal with these challenges. So the things I say here, if you have been thinking that, they're not real, or how is somebody going through this, I forgive you proof, but I will not give you proof, because if you want to be a doubting Thomas, go and do a doubting Thomas somewhere else. Okay, but anyway, I'm just gonna say that Mondays to Thursdays, keep it locked with me right here. Okay, if you hear songs, just know that lovey-dovey is happening. If you don't hear songs, know it will not happen for that night. But it does not mean that you should not be in anticipation, because any episode you miss, bad girl, any episode you miss is a loss. It's a loss, my darling. Okay, so make sure to keep in anticipation. In fact, you should be locked in. The dial is Today 95.1 FM, so you had better be locked in, my darling. Okay, so we're having this conversation tonight. Keep it locked with me right here. Sit pretty, just relax. You know that I come with you with amazing songs, so I'm giving you something to make sure that your mood is proper, all prim and proper. I'm setting the pace for the conversation on the table tonight. It's lovey-dovey and the PH Baddie Day for you.
You can take my heart. You know it's all for you, all for you. You're the one and you know it. You want it gone.
across the border. No more holding back your heart. And you're all I wanna realize. Let's do the right thing. Choosing you versus me. No, the other one's just wasting time. You're the only one that's on my mind. You can take my heart. You know it's all for you. It's all for you. You're the one and you know it. We want you calm. In case you didn't know it, nothing is changing. I'm still your girl. You want it calm. You want it calm. Don't worry, worry, worry. Baby, you got me, got me, got me. Don't worry, worry, worry. Baby, you got me, got me, got me.
Looks like we made it. Look how far we've come, my baby. We might have took the long way, but we knew we'd get there someday. They said I did. You'll never make it, but just look at us holding on. We're still together. We're still going strong. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. Oh baby, you're still the one I love, the only one I dream of. You're still the one I need.
right, you will no longer be moved by money, body, cars, the investment the person has made. You will no longer be moved about that anymore. You'll not be looking for clarity, you'll be looking for peace, you'll be looking for stability. You'll no longer be bothered about Nyash, you'll no longer be bothered about if he has money or not. You just be looking for someone that will keep you, hold you down, someone that is grounded, someone that actually loves you. You'll be craving for peace.
Wife needs 10 to 12 non-sexual touches a day. That means touches that are just indicators to her that you love her today, without anything expected in return. Find words to pursue her, words of affection. And I would even say touches of affection that are non-sexual. Ladies, pursue him with words of affirmation. Tell him he looks good. You can melt him in a moment. Here's what I need you to hear, ladies. He's becoming what you see in him. You want him to get cleaned up more? When he's cleaned up, tell him how good he looks. You want him to lead more spiritually? When he goes to church on Sunday, takes your family to church, drives to yoga center, thank you for taking our family to church. Stop telling him what he's not. So tell him what you see him becoming.
Àwọn obìnrin kan wà wọ́n tọ́bọ̀ lóòótọ́.
Is my wife beautiful? Yes.
Is my husband handsome? Yes.
But beauty and looks does not determine how successful a marriage will be. Most marriages today collapse because it's determined by what the eyes see and what the flesh looks like. The marriage will not last.
Okorobịa macha mma, too ogologo, jide ego, mana agwa ya jọrọ njọ. The marriage will not last.
You are beautiful, but you lack the ability to communicate and understand your partner. The marriage will not last.
You are handsome, amugadi anofebe, and you lack commitment. The marriage will not last.
You are beautiful, but you lack, darling, I love you. Darling, kiss me. You lack affection, intimacy, touch, and physical connection. And your marriage will not last.
You are handsome. When you have a problem, instead of running to God, you run to other women. Your marriage will not last.
Fine girl, if you cannot apologize when necessary, the marriage will not last.
Fine boy, but you cannot forgive when necessary. The marriage will not last.
Fine girl without Jesus.
Fine boy without Jesus.
Any marriage that lacks the presence of God
is bound to fail.
Say no to bad character.
Say no to lack of communication and understanding.
Say no to lack of commitment.
Say no to lack of attention and affection. Baby, I love you.
You will marry once.
And you will marry right in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Getting back
attacked for saying that a 40-year-old man that doesn't have a child, that's not in a committed relationship, that's never been in one, is a red flag. And I'm wondering, you guys say these things to women every single time. So is this how it feels like? Because you guys are getting pissed off now. So this is how it feels like. So I give you guys the taste of your own medicine in order to break my own word. I'm just stating the obvious. I will say the 40-year-old man, but you guys say to women that a 30-year-old woman is expired. Nobody wants you again. And once you're like 32, 33, you don't enter expiration dates. You guys say it every time. And I'm wondering, is this what women go through? When people say these things, is it the same pain they go through? Because you guys are pained. And I'm wondering, that's not part of the masculinity essence. So when they say something, you are triggered easily. How are you a man? If somebody says something, you are just triggered easily. You go into your emotions. Who will you be, bro? Don't go think yourself very well. Think about just to get money. Some people come to broke shame and say, oh, you don't have money? Bro, you don't even know me. You just saw me on the internet and just assume, oh, you don't have money? Bro, just shut up. Okay, yes, I agree. Okay, I don't get money. Yeah, you said, okay, you said we don't get money like this. Okay, I don't hear you now. You don't be now. Get the money for yourself. Sure, you get. So I was telling one of my friends that a 40-year-old man that does not have a relationship, that has not been married, that has not given birth to children, nothing, is a red flag. And I was like, no, it's not possible now. Like, it's mostly women that, you know, they will be shaming with that age thing. And I said, if you as the man, at least woman, you can still say, good men are not out there that propose to her because she cannot force a man to propose. But you as the man, you have this choice to choose a woman and say, okay, I like you, I want to propose to you. And at least, if you are good enough, she will say yes. So you are telling me from the age of 20 to 40, you've not seen a good woman, you've not attracted a good woman that is enough to say, okay, you know what, I want to marry you. It means there is something in you that is not attracting a good woman. You're not saying we should not call you red flag. Waiting be that one, we'll call you red flag, oh yes. Because men too expire, men they expire. Because when you guys bring Regina Darius and Ned, you won't call and say, okay, oh, this and that. That's like 1%. How many people be like that, man? And the time you say, Shane Regina Darius look and say, oh, I love Ned because he's very attractive. I find him attractive. I should ever say that kind of thing. Even if she says it, it's understandable. Nigga is rich, bro. He's rich. If I was the one, I would say it. Anything for the benefits, bro. So yes, look at life, reality. Unless you don't marry, and if you don't marry, say born pikin. At 40, what you want to use? Show why meaning. Wait, me 40. Baba, time they go. No go lose it. Time they go, bro.
Don't let parenting turn your relationship into a business transaction. The child you love so much, that beautiful innocent soul that came into your life because of a union, that child came through two people who once could not keep their hands off each other, right? So why do you now think that the marriage becomes optional after these children are beginning to show up one by one? When you sideline your marriage for the kids, you are putting the cart before the horse. The kids are the fruit, but the marriage, gangon, is the tree. If the tree withers, the fruit will eventually suffer. You have to protect intimacy the same way you protect your child's nap time. Date nights are not luxury, they are lifelines. You need time when you are not just mommy and daddy, but where you are lovers again, teasing, touching, and connecting. You need it. Otherwise, your sex life will die, your friendship will die, and the marriage becomes a machine, mechanical. Don't let parenting turn your relationship into a business transaction. Don't let parenting turn your relationship into a business transaction. The child you love so much, that beautiful innocent soul that came into your life because of a union, that child came through two people who once could not keep their hands off each other, right? So why do you now think that the marriage becomes optional after these children are beginning to show up one by one? When you sideline your marriage for the kids, you are putting the cart before the horse. The kids are the fruit, but the marriage, gangon, is the tree. If the tree withers, the fruit will eventually suffer. You have to protect intimacy the same way you protect your child's nap time. Date nights are not luxury, they are lifelines. You need time when you are not just mommy and daddy, but where you are lovers again, teasing, touching, and connecting. You need it. Otherwise, your sex life will die, your friendship will die, and the marriage becomes a machine, mechanical. Don't let parenting turn your relationship into a business transaction.
Okay, beautiful people. So, because it's in my habit to share updates, yeah, I just said, look, I'd saved off some of these reminders for you guys, and you just needed to hear them, okay? So you know that this thing is real. Okay, so you know that this thing is real. Okay, so tonight we're talking sexual frustration, and I'm going to quote a certain Nigerian marriage therapist, right? And so he had some things to say, and some of the things that he said, well, for a lot of people, right, they've pegged it as, oh, look, this thing that this person says, yeah, makes sense. There has been, conversations around it. And you also got to hear the voice of Nollywood veteran actor Chiwetalo Ago and his wife, give you people, would it be guidelines, okay? You know how sometimes, well, for me at least, people who have been married for uh, a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, they can drop one or two things on marriage, right? And I'll take it seriously because I feel like they've been there, done that. And while every situation is different, every marriage is unique. No two marriages are the same. So the truth is, what works for one marriage might not exactly work for the other. I've said it here before on WWE that in as much as you think you want to take suggestions or you want to take advice from people you consider wise enough in the marriage business, people who probably have been married for a while, or people who are certified marriage counselors and all of that, make sure that the advice you take is something you can apply to your circumstance. Let it fit your circumstance, right? Because sometimes people feel that they are in position to give advice because they have a similar situation or they have experienced a similar situation. But like I said the other time, it might not always be the case. So be careful what you take, because what you think might be good advice. And funny thing, that advice, which might not work for you, might work for another person's marriage. That is why, ultimately, whatever advice you're going to be taking, tailor it to your situation, tailor it to your marriage, tailor it to your needs and that of your partner. If you want good results, have it in mind that no two marriages are the same. So it is almost impossible that somebody will tell you, oh, look, this thing you are going through, oh, I went through the exact same thing. Go and check. There is something peculiar about your situation or theirs. Yes, it might be similar situations. Yeah, it might be a similar situation. I gave people an instance at a time. Woman A, her husband is cheating, but he doesn't bring money home, doesn't take care of the family. He just spends all his money outside. He's a wandering pim. His penis is for the community and also his money. Woman B, her husband is cheating. His penis is a wandering penis, but then again, he's a loving father. He brings his money home, takes care of his children and all of that. Now, woman, A and woman B, they have something in common, which is their husband cheats, right? But while woman A's husband does not bring money home, does not take care of his family, woman B's husband does take care of his family. So if these two men are going to take advice, if they're going to say, oh, look, we need counsel, what can we do? What do we not do? They have to make sure that, yes, they have a similar problem. There's something that unites them, which would be the fact that their husbands cheat. But we can see that their husbands cheat differently, right? Or their husbands behave differently. While one of them does not take care of his family, the other one does. So you see that if these women are going to take advice, right? If they are going to do anything at all, they will have to do things considering their peculiar situations, which would be that their husbands actually behave differently. They might be doing the same thing, which is cheating, But the underlying factor is, while this one does not take care of the family, this one does. So you see where it might require some extra wisdom for these two women to be able to decipher how best to go about the situation. And whatever they decide to do, right, will most likely be peculiar as well to their situations. Because I mean, these two things might be the same situation, but it's different in a way. So you see why people always tell you that no two marriages are the same, you know, and what works for A might not work for B. So at the end of the day, you would have to be wise, because that exactly is what is required. Okay, so I'm going to read what a Nigerian marriage therapist has to say when it comes to how important sex is in a marriage and what sexual frustration can do. His name is Shamsuddin Giwa, and I'm going to quote his post. I'll quote what he wrote in a post. So here, he wrote, "Lack of sexual satisfaction will lead to marital frustration." I'll take it again. Lack of sexual satisfaction will lead to marital frustration. Many of the issues we are trying to resolve are rooted in sexual frustration. Climax, orgasm, then see what will happen. Proper penetrative sex is paramount in your marriage, as desired by your spouse and balanced out by you. Don't get it twisted. Leave religion and good behavior out of this one. You know how there's a problem in a marriage, and for a lot of you, the first thing is, oh, talk to God about it. Don't talk to God about it. No problem. God instituted marriage, and granted, he should be the third cord in the marriage, right? Now, there are some problems that, in addition to talking to God about it, you would have to do certain things as a human being. You would have to take certain steps. Now, some people do not take those steps. Some people do not take those steps. So what exactly is God supposed to bless? You will take the steps that you are supposed to take. So God can see that, okay, this is what you are doing to make this marriage work. Good behavior. I know that a lot of people have been lied to over the years. They have told a lot of women that good behavior will keep a man. Ooh, that would have to be one of the most, how do I even describe it now? A lot of women were lied to growing up. They told you that good behavior will keep a man. They told you that a good food is the way to a man's heart. I mean, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Have you met men who can cook? So because they can cook, look, you can do that for Hidabasi. You can cook up a storm, and they will be unimpressed. They will not be moved because what they can do is times two. So aside from that, what else do you have to offer, madam? They'll tell you that, oh, good behavior will keep a man. Good behavior will attract a man. And what for sometimes when I talk to certain men, they will talk about, oh, character this, character that. But I say it here still. Some men will marry peace of mind, because that's the language that you people like to use. A woman who gives me peace, a woman who gives me peace. Some of you want peace. You want peace of mind, but you do not create an enabling environment for peace to thrive. I don't know how you are a peace person and you're expecting peace, but okay, no one. So some of you will insist that you want peace of mind. Funny thing, you will marry peace of mind, but you will cheat on her. And guess who you will cheat on her with? Pieces of mind. So that person you refuse to marry because you felt, oh, this person, hey, she will not give me peace of mind. She will do this, she will do that. You know, she will do those and those. Okay, no problem. So you marry peace of mind, and then you go back to pieces of mind to be collecting, one or two. And my question will be why? Is peace of mind not enough to keep your pim in the house? Why can peace of mind not hold your penis at home? Because it's a very funny situation, really. It's a funny situation, and these things happen. So when they happen, I'm thinking, how did we get here? Why is this a narrative? I gave you guys gist here one time about this married man who was on my case. Still is. Because it's not like I've gotten rid of him. But so this particular person, you know, what the thing was, what really did piss me off about him was how he, this one time, told me, oh, he was happily married. I mean, you know, so you know, at the time I looked at him and I'm like, this has to be the biggest joke of the century, because what the heck? And I'm like, I just told myself, look, baby girl, the things that you have gone through and the things that you are still going through, because some of you are still putting me through a lot. The things that people come to my DM to say. Okay, so this person went all, you know, was all up in my face, all up in my case and all of that. And this one time I was like, no vex, but Sherry, you are married now. And then he was like, no, I'm not just married, I am happily married. Oh my God. And I'm like, no big God, just be this. I'm like, what? Okay, so you are happy, but me, oh no, I will indulge you in your foolishness, bro. I'm like, oh, okay, you are happily married, that is fantastic. I'm happy for you. Okay, so what exactly do you want with me? Because if you're happily married, and happily married people do not wonder. If you're happily married, you will sit down in your house and enjoy your marriage. That's what happy marriages is about, you know. So why are you outside? If you're happily married, why are you outside? But no shades, no shades to, you know, people who want to do what they want to do. At the end of the day, it's your life, your choice. Yeah, I'm not shading anybody, so people should not come for me, please. But I'm just saying that in certain situations, some things are unnecessary. If you want to toast a girl, if you want to sleep with her, when it goes straight to the point. Some people do this thing where they want to rub it in that they're actually having a fulfilling marital lives. Bro, we know that you are deceiving yourself. You can't. I know you think that you are holding it down. You know, you are holding down your home front because maybe your wife doesn't know that you are straying or something. Whatever you want to do it with your full chest. So this thing where people do, where some married men do, where they front happy marriages in front of women. I mean, in front of the woman that they want to sleep with, the woman that they are, you know, you are going to tell that you want to deal with, you want to bam. This woman, you want to tear her apart. And then you're flaunting happy marriage. If you're happy like that, guy, what are you doing outside? For me, please, don't do all that happy marriage thing. If you want to be outside with your full chest. That's what, you know, that's what is real. Please, be outside with your full chest. Let's know that this is what it's about. This is what you are here for. This is you. And then you can keep your marriage out of the table. I mean, I don't think you should not be discussing your marriage and stuff with a side chick. Sometimes I read certain stories. I hear certain stories where the woman is complaining, oh, she found that her husband tells a side chick everything. How their sex is, how they are, you know, how they make love. If she cooks any meal that is not sweet, the side chick will know. This one and that one, you know. And I'm like, that's what they do for here. Why though? Please, I was going to put out this reminder. If you're doing anything, be sure to protect your family. Because some of these side chicks, they are audacious. They know please, they don't play like that. Keep your family away from the table. She should know that your family is off limits. Don't discuss your wife or your marital whatever. Don't flaunt happy marriage in her face. It's irrelevant. Just go there. If you collect what you want to collect, do what you want to do, and then, go to where you're going to. Some of you will now go and carry your family flag and be, displaying for the side chick. Person where they want to collect. Why do you people do these things? I find it hilarious, at the same time super annoying, please. So if it's something that you do, stop it all. It doesn't make any sense that the person you want to sleep with, or you are already sleeping with, you are still forming happy marriage in front of her. For what? You are happy in your marriage and then you are outside sleeping with her. Gadus. Now Gadus be there too. So I'll quickly read this again and then open the phone lines for your reactions, of course. Lack of sexual satisfaction will lead to marital frustration. Many of the issues we are trying to resolve are rooted in sexual frustration. Climax, orgasm, then see what will happen. Proper penetrative sex is paramount in your marriage. Married people, they did not say that once you get married, you should stop having sex. I don't know who told you people that once you get married, boom, you don't have to have sex anymore. Some of you would have a very active sexual lifestyle in relationships the moment you get married. In fact, the moment you born your first mini-me, that's all. The next one is you start having sex when you are ready to try again. I understand that, children come with responsibilities. Sometimes there are pressure. But you heard Skookie. I played, the clip from Skookie twice because I did that repetition for emphasis. Do not stop being married to yourselves. Skookie said your marriage is the tree. Your children are the fruit of the marriage. So if the tree withers, which withered tree will bear fruit? Look at it. It's not even possible. So you have to make sure that your home front is your marriage is standing. Your marriage has to stand. For the family to stand. A family friend of mine, a couple of years ago, he told me this thing where I think they had their second child. The second child was still a baby. And then this one time, I think it was either his birthday or for his wife. No, it was not a special occasion. It was just... So he just told me, oh, look, they were going out. Because at the time, I know, they just had the second baby and then... And so they had this, they went on a date. They were just, having fun. It was just the both of them. So I was like, bia. I was like, come on. Where do people keep my boy? The second child was a boy at the time. And he was a baby. He was, So at that point where you expect that everywhere a woman is going to, she'll carry her baby because, the baby is still breastfeeding and all of this one. And so I was like, please, can you people explain to me where you have kept my child? Because... So, and they were like, oh, okay, so he's home with the wife's mother, and they actually took their kids over to the mother so the mother could take care of the kids. They wanted to go out to date themselves. They just wanted to have that time where, they would go and do their thing on their own, just them as a couple. And it hit. It did hit at the time because I'm like, it makes so much sense for a couple to remember that, look, yes, there are children who are, of course, wonderful gifts from God. But these children need to be nurtured. And these children will be properly nurtured in a home filled with love, not one that is filled with the survival mentality. A lot of adults today were raised on survival mentality, and it's a problem because really it's garbage in, garbage out. What you have been given is what you will bring out. It's the reason a lot of men and women today are nonchalant when it comes to relationships, when it comes to affection, when it comes to connection. Communication. Some people grew up seeing their parents, the father is the man of the house, is the Lord. When he comes in, everybody disappears. No such love. No, they never heard their parents saying I love you to each other. They only know that their mother was a submissive wife because whatever the father says was law, So that's it. So they grew up in that environment, and then they grew up thinking that, oh, look, once I'm here, I'm the man of the house. That's it. The woman is also thinking, look, my husband, whatever he says, I don't have mouth, I cannot talk. There's no such love. The only time I and my husband will be in bed together and doing one or two things is when we're trying to make a baby. There are people who believe that sex is entirely or solely for procreation. There are people who, look, what are you saying about sex? All those who are not concerned them. The only time they consider getting in between a woman's legs, or the only time they consider letting a man in between their legs is when they want to have a baby. So they're trying to make a baby. Oh, okay, it's time. And they will still check. It has to be, around the period where she's ovulating, when the pregnancy would actually happen. That's when they consider being with each other. And it's crazy, guys. It's crazy. Because, please, how did we get there? How did we get there? So it's important that as couples, you love yourselves, date yourselves. You have to do things to reignite your spark. The spark in your marriage, please. Even if that spark dies, go and buy lighter. If it's lighter, you have to buy light. If it's matches, you light the spark. I say you should do what? Light that spark. Go and buy lighter. Buy matchbox. Buy, what else they used to buy? What's that thing again? What do they even call that thing that looks like, it wants to look like a gun? They use it to, in fact, some of you have this why is it coming and going? And to think that I just told somebody about it the other day because looking to buy that, and well, I'm just adulting, please. My head is filled with a lot of things. Yeah, that's my excuse these days. I just use adulthood to, please. It's a whole lot going on there. Okay, so maybe we have all of that going on. Please go and buy it. So you can use it to light up your relationship, light up your marriage, so that the spark can come back. Reignite it, even if it dies. We have lighter, we have matchbox. You can still use firewood. You can go and do that firewood method. You put the firewood together, you use, maybe the stone, you strike stones again. Maybe there's a friction ahead. Those of you who do physics, there's a friction. All those friction things, you do friction, and please, what matters is that the spark has come back. And so, however, whatever method you want to use, please indulge me. Okay, so I've told you what the therapist says. Sexual frustration is a real thing, and yeah, while it's a real thing, he says, please have as much sex as possible. Basically, climax, orgasm. Those men who do not know that women have to also, women have to also come. It's not enough for you to just come and then your wife can go. You don't care. So you have to put it in your head that you see this sexual satisfaction that you have come to. Your wife is also supposed to come to the same level of sexual satisfaction. You cannot be in cloud 180. She will not be in cloud 2. Some men will legit leave their wives in cloud 2. You have gone to 180. To do what there? Please be nicer. Proper penetrative sex is paramount in your marriage, as desired by your spouse and balanced out by you. Don't get it twisted, please. Proper penetrative sex, paramount in your marriage, as desired by your spouse and then balanced out by you. So if your spouse orders, you deliver. If you order, your spouse should deliver. That's the way to go. Okay? It's time for you to call in, guys. Talk to me. What do you think? First question: how important is sex in marriage? How important is this for you? How important do you think sex is in marriage? And then do you think many marital issues are as a result of sexual frustration? You know how sometimes some of you tell me that if people can get divorced because of sexual issues. Yeah, some people have said that to me before, where, oh, if you go to many, the reason for many divorce cases right about now is, people not having enough sex, and, and that is for those who want to emphasize the importance of sex. So, yeah, talk to me. Phone lines are open. Call me, text me. You can do voice notes if you want to, but the voice note should not be more than 1 minute, please. Yeah. 1 minute voice note if you want to do a voice note. Okay? 0817 000 951 0817 000 951 0810 951 0951 0810 951 951. So hit me up, tell me how important is sex in marriage. Do you think many marital issues are as a result of sexual frustration? Alright, let's begin with this first call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, I'm fine. Feeling cool as ice and restless like the wonderful full moonlight in the sky.
Did you say moonlight?
Yeah, moonlight.
Okay.
Alright, I'm at a feeling. So sorry, but I have to come this way this morning, huh? Alright, let me start with the first question. Well,
how important is sex in marriage?
Okay. It's important because how important is it is that so home full of good conversation, you understand? It is where the Holy Spirit thrives. You understand?
It is very what?
It is where the Holy Spirit thrives.
Okay.
You understand? It is where the Holy Spirit thrives because the Bible says where in the presence of God there is fullness of joy. So that because after our marriage that is an institution of God. So of course it is legal in the sight of God. You get so it is where the Holy Spirit thrives, and there is this lock. There is this lock when you like those ones who say you wake up in the morning do and you go to work. There is this favor it brings. You get there is this law. In fact, like I learned from a particular counselor, a particular marriage counselor, while I was in Bayelsa that that morning kiss like a man will give. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
That morning kiss a man will give to his wife and go to work. That day, that day a lot of goodies happen. You understand? By the time he gives that kiss, maybe when he wakes up before he steps out of the house, just go back kiss. You get so it brings number one the Holy Spirit will thrive in that home.
So what is bringing the Holy Spirit to the home?
Well, the thing that the sex is bringing.
Okay.
You understand? Where good sex is, of course, there will be joy, there will be happiness, there will be gladness, and because it's healthy. They are talking about good sex. They are talking about healthy, passionate sex, and passionate development, not just sex. So where that is, of course, there is joy, and where that joy is, that's where the Holy Spirit thrives.
Okay.
Where the angels thrive. So yeah, then number two question now. Frustration now.
Do you think many marital issues are as a result of sexual frustration? The issues that we get to hear about happening in marriages, do you think they are as a result of sexual frustration?
Well, 50 to 60% of them, yes.
Okay.
Yes, 50 to 60% of them, yes. If it is not starvation, it is cheating. It is not cheating. You understand? What have you? You get?
All right.
So now, before I go, one solution to this sexual frustration we are talking about here for the married. Look, as a young person, let me start from singles that are on the way to you. Try to look out for commitment, not compatibility. Commitment. Somebody find out, try to know if you're actually committed to this person, or if this person can be actually committed to you. You understand? Know that first of all, and build commitment. Both
All
for
right.
the singles and both for the married already.
Okay.
Build that commitment. Very important. Commitment after communication to understanding and all that. Commitment. Building commitment. Building that you committing as a man, building yourself to commit your body, your spirit, body, and soul to her. As a woman, being able to commit your spirit, body, and soul to him.
All right. Thank you.
Then the rest will be history.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. I'm not confident.
Yes, please. Never mind. Welcome.
All right. Can you ask a question?
The first question is, how important is sex in marriage?
Yes. I can start from quoting from the Bible. The scripture stated it clearly that when Adam knew his wife, she conceived and bore him a child. Same also Abraham, and several scripture links to that. I can tell you that proper sex, that is sex intimate, that is where you see that the couples, they speak almost the same language because they are connected to each other. You can't even define it how this connection is. There is a transfer of you into your spouse through that intercourse. You can't even tell. So with sex, you connect spiritually. Your number 2 question.
Do you think many marital issues are as a result of sexual frustration?
Actually, many marital frustration could be linked to that, but it is not absolute. I have seen a situation whereby a man is sexually active, satisfy the wife, bought car for the wife. The wife is also using that car to carry men out to places. Not that the man is not satisfying the wife, but the wife is still cheating on the man. On that, let me say something. A lady told me some weeks ago, she said, never make a mistake of marrying young girl that is not yet ready for marriage, because she will not settle. That when she was much younger, in her 19, somebody came to propose to her, and she told the man, although through the parents, she told them that she has a boyfriend, that the man should wait for like 5 years. And that man was much older, I think 40, she was 19. That man is in UK. And when she finally settled down to marry, she is 35 now. She is not even giving birth yet, but she is regretting it. So she said, don't marry somebody that is not yet ready to settle down. That's why you see ladies complaining of lack of sex, any woman that is ready for marriage. She will communicate the man, tell the man, this is this, that is that, and they will settle it out and not break up. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for calling. All right. Keep your calls coming in. I'm here. I'm taking your calls. I will be taking more. Hello. Good morning to you.
Hello. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well. Thank you.
My name is Judah. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
You're welcome.
Wow. for me, like please can you ask me the first question?
How important is sex in marriage?
Yes, sex is very important. You know, how woman being needs water and food to survive. You know, so that's how important sex is in marriage, because sex in marriage, like, it makes the two couples to communicate with each other. Like, there is a bond in them having a sex. Like, there's a bond and the communication. You understand? So it's made them to communicate with each other, like know each other well, and for them to be able to understand themselves. Yeah. So it's very important in marriage. Very, very important. So to the second question.
Do you think many marital issues are as a result of sexual frustration?
Yes, like let me just give my rating now. If like many marital issues now is up to 100%, the one that sexual frustration causes is like 70. Do you understand? Because the ones that you can settle, like when maybe now you guys have maybe now, let me take for instance now, a couple is having an issue. Two couples are having an issue. So maybe the one that they can settle, well, like when they're having sex, the one that they can settle when they're having sex, they cannot settle due to maybe this one, maybe it's not this one is not satisfied. They are not having sexual satisfaction, all this kind of thing. So now that will now cause a problem between them. So
Okay. Okay. Think we lost you there, but all right. Think we got your point. All right. So messages, send them to 0701 9339 962 0701 9339 962. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Sorry, as I was saying. So,
Okay.
That I was trying to explain that. So maybe now they are now having an issue now. So what they can settle, because of each of them, like they are not getting any sexual transfer satisfaction from each other. So now they will still now lead to a very big problem. Why it is a little problem that they can settle. So they still now like it can cause the sexual distance can cause a problem. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for calling. Okay, keep your messages and of course your calls coming in. For messages, send them to 0701 9339 962 0701 9339 962. Okay, let me have your text messages and your WhatsApp messages as well. 0701 9339 962. Okay, WhatsApp messages, text messages as well. Let me have it. Okay, so tell me what you think. How important is sex in marriage? And then do you think any or many marital issues are as a result of sexual frustration? Do you think this is a real thing? Do you think that people would have issues, because of something? Or do you think people have issues because they're not collecting, electricity on a steady? They're not collecting electricity on a steady frequency, all that. Do you think that issues can legit come up in marriage? And then when these issues come up, you know how they talk about makeup sex, yeah? All those small things that, would serve to make up for what is lacking. Things like that. So when these things are missing, do you think it's the reason for a lot of problems being prolonged? Some of these things dragging for longer than necessary. Could that be an issue? Anyway, let me know what you think. Phone lines are still open. 0817 0000 951 0817 0000 951 0810 9510 951 0810 9510 951. Okay, yes, I see your messages. Keep it coming. In the next few minutes, I'll take your messages. Yes. All right. So keep it coming. Let's see more messages, and the messages will come. Oh yeah, I will take your messages. Just keep them coming. All right. Now send me messages that are related to the conversation, please, because some of you like to carry it to where I don't know. I don't ask me for things that I cannot give to you, because please, I'm not your creator. No, guys. Some of you put me through a lot. Like, I go through a lot in your hands. And I'll just be like, oh, it's like I signed up for this thing. Or I signed up when I agreed to do lovey-dovey. It just feels like, sometimes I'm like, is this supposed to be some sort of punishment? Because what is this? Kinelele, kinelele. Well, anyway, it's all good. All right, so messages are in. I'll start taking some of your messages, because sometimes I might have to react to the messages that you have sent in. So, let's see. I will sort through and begin with the messages shortly. All right, let's begin with some messages here. This is from Arinze Ekweme. It says, take it or leave it. A relationship without sex will crash. Most times, sexual satisfaction causes one or both partners to cheat. Okay. I'm sure what you meant to type there is sexual frustration. Okay, so most times sexual frustration causes one or both partners to cheat. Okay. All right, that's okay. Thank you for texting, Arinze. All right, let's go to this other one. This is from Chinano texting from PH. Chinano says, hello, Maka. Yes, sex is very important in marriage. And do I think many marital issues are as a result of sexual frustration? Absolutely. Sometimes couples can sort out issues when they are having sex. That's the best time to talk about certain things. At midnight, after a first round, or even during the second round or something, they can sort out their problems at that time. But if it's a couple that no longer have sex, they might not even have an opportunity to sort out their issues. Okay, thank you for texting. This message here is from Godwin, texting from PH. Godwin says, good morning to you, goddess of the airwaves. Hey. Let be small goddess. The titles you people give to me, Seth. Okay. It says goddess of the airwaves. Okay, I don't know if I should call you god of the what now. Okay, god of the listening wave. Okay. He says the importance of sex can never be overemphasized. If a couple fail to have sex as often as possible in their marriage, they are thereby creating loopholes. That's where all these cases of cheating and whatnot begin to come in. Even though I know that some people will cheat, whether or not they have sex 10 million times with their spouses. But I think that a couple should, of course, have regular sex. It is very important. And whether I think that marital issues can come as a result of sexual frustration, absolutely. Even me said that it's just in a relationship. There's a way that this thing will hold me like this, and I'll begin to have anger issues. And on a normal day, I don't have anger issues, so Amaka, they say in Thai rapper. Wahala J. Wahala J, yo. He said it in Thai rapper. So on the number J, you have anger issues. I said it when I started this show today. Okay, well, when I started yesterday, because yesterday I said it. That some of you begin to have anger issues when you don't have enough sex. It's I don't know, but can you explain to me why? Is there a reason? Is there a reason you begin to, have this whole thing going on where your body is pinching you too much? You begin to have anger issues from nowhere. You're having anger issues, and I'm wondering, how did we get here? Like, what's going on? How do you move from being a normal person to suddenly having anger issues? Okay, let's see more messages. Women, where are your messages, please? Because most times I'm looking for messages from the females. Okay. Next, take this one from Charles. Charles says, "Hello, Amaka. Good evening to you." Okay, sent this in earlier. So, sex is very important in marriage. A lot of couples might not even understand how important it is, or they keep lying to themselves. But I know that regular sex makes a couple happy. It gives them an opportunity to talk about the things that are bedeviling their marriage, and then they get to sort it out. Marital issues can be as a result of sexual frustration, because when you're not happy and when you're not satisfied sexually, it can of course lead to unhappiness, and there are so many other things that can happen because of unhappiness. So yes, marital issues can be as a result of sexual frustration. Sex is important in marriage, Amaka. Okay, why you can't put my name for the end of the message? Because please, what's my name now doing there? Because what's going on? Okay, here, let's take this one from Kingsley, texting from Rumo. That's okay, Rumo Masi. Okay, Kingsley says, Amaka, I remember you saying some time ago about what Chinua Achebe said on Lovey Dovey here. As long as the bed keeps shaking regularly, there'll be no problems in the home. So that is my perfect answer to this question. How important is sex in marriage? As long as a couple continue to have sex, the issues that will come in marriage might be less. Yes, we know that sex is not everything, but is it important? Yes. Is it vital? Yes. So dear couples, as long as you are married, you have the legal right to have sex with your partner as much as possible. Please do not sleep on this. Okay, yes. So I didn't even remember to add that, but it's something that, of course, that has been mentioned. Yeah, that as long as, yes, Chino Achebe, as long as the bed shakes regularly, what's gonna happen? Peace and tranquility. Look, there are certain things, there might be the whole satisfaction that comes, from a couple being able to, copulate. There are certain things I know that, apart from people who are having sex with, the OS and the sex workers and all of those things. But if you're having sex with the person that you connect with, you share deep emotional connection with, right? There's that thing where you are free, you are relaxed, and so you might want to talk about whatever issues that you guys have. That's like the time when couples will even begin to make plans, for certain things. Oh, I think we should do that. I think we should do this. Sometimes they even say that's when women ask for money from their husbands. Hell, some of you women, that's when you ask for money, because you know that that's when, you know, when he's at the peak of it, that's when he's gonna give you that money. We know your scope. Sorry, say I did cast the update, but I think they know. I think they know. Okay, so let's see. I have time to read 2 more messages. Let me go ahead. This one says, in biology, we were taught about the characteristics of living things, and reproduction is one of them, which involves sex. So a marriage without proper sex is like someone not breathing properly. Chineke me. So if you're not breathing, a marriage without sex is like someone not breathing properly. Are you for real? So sex is very important in marriage, and lack of it is a major problem in most marriages. All right, thank you for texting. You did not include your name. I don't know why, because why would you not include your name? Very wrong move. Very, very wrong move. But okay, no wahala. Thank you for texting still. Okay, so I'm going to do one more message before we come and be going. Okay, let's do this one from Esther. Okay, Esther says, hello Amaka, good morning to you. It's been 2 days, please, they should not be doing this to us on Lovey Dovey. Esther, sorry, you're no vex, it's not my fault. Well, Esther says, for me, I think that sex is incredibly important in marriage. It's not something a couple should stop doing. I understand that sometimes anxieties of life might even make a couple to not having sex, to stop having sex, but they should not let this be their case. As much as possible, couples should learn to reignite the spark in their marriage, as it is essential for a marriage to go through. This is coming from a person who has been married for a couple of years, and I can tell you the truth for a fact, Amaka, that every time I and my husband had issues and we tried to sort out our issues while in bed, we found better solutions, and it just made it easy because we were able to talk about the things that were bothering us and sort them out immediately. I think that there are marital issues that might be as a result of sexual frustration, especially when the couple cannot communicate. It's different when a couple has issues and they're able to talk about it, but sexual frustration can make a couple lack communication as well. So if they lack communication, they will not be able to sort out the problems existing in their marriage. Sex is important. Couples, please enjoy your God-given rights. Okay. Thank you so much for texting. Thank you for sharing this with us. Esther Ross, she says she's been married for a while now, so thank you for sharing this with us, dear Esther. All right, beautiful people. Well, that's our show. Thank you for calling. Thank you for texting. Thank you for sending in your messages. Thank you for doing lovey dovey with me. Thank you. Say you day for me. You day with me all day, every day. You know, for sticking here with me. All right, beautiful people. Well, that's how it comes to the end of tonight's episode of Lovey Dovey. Well, it's Thursday, and if Lovey Dovey happens tonight, we're going to have our Music Munch episode, 11:15 p.m. The episode where you get to request for your music. Yeah, you get to tell me, you get to request for the songs that you want me to play for you. Tonight is going to be your night. Yeah, so it's simple. I ask a question, you know, you come through with the answer. You know, so when you give me the answer, you make a music request, and me deliver on my mandates. Yes, I will deliver on my mandates. That's how I am, sweet girl. You know, delivering on mandates up and down. Now my work be that. Make sure to have a blast, beautiful people. While you're at it, enjoy the song from Martin Taylor. It's titled Nobody. Okay, from me to you, it's a good night, and of course, good morning.
And the love I broke it all to pieces. All the roars and the lows, you made me realize all my imperfections mean nothing to you. You're the reason I believe. Oh, love, and the love I give to you, I don't wanna give nobody. My all and my soul, I don't wanna give nobody. No, nobody. No, nobody. You took away all the pains of yesterday. Yeah, the blocks of doubt you broke without a word. And there's fire in my eyes that's burning, burning for you. There's fire in my eyes that's burning for you. And the love I give to you, I don't wanna give nobody. My all and my soul, I don't wanna give nobody. No.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
Hello. I'm actually looking for a place where I can do very good jingles.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.